You and I left a good life behind a long time ago, my friend.
John Wick 5. Where does the story go from here? The John Wick franchise has been consistently impressive, and the recent release, John Wick Chapter 4, adds another feather in the illustrious cap. The movie brings you a beautiful ballet of violence and guns, with the iconic titular hitman back in action through a gripping storyline. The overwhelming response and the shocking climatic moments after some unforgettable action sequences have ignited the interest among the fans for the next movie in the franchise, John Wick 5. In this video, we will explore and analyze where the story is headed next, but there will be a few key spoilers on the recent release along the way. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. How does the ending of John Wick Chapter 4 shape up Chapter 5? We cannot possibly discuss the story potential of the 5th John Wick movie without discussing the 4th, so here comes the spoilers. Picking up from where John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum left off, the titular assassin is engaged in a battle to death with the all-powerful High Table, the organization that monitors the criminal underworld and assassins. The movie opens with John Wick assassinating the mysterious leader of the High Table, the Elder, and he soon finds himself being haunted by scores of assassins who are lured by a high bounty on his head. The Marquis, Vincent de Gramont, who is a senior member of the High Table, forcibly enlists the services of a retired blind assassin named Kane by threatening the safety of his daughter if he doesn't oblige. Kane has to agree even though John Wick is an old friend, and thus begins a deadly cat-and-mouse game with some extreme levels of action and martial arts. John Wick briefly heads to Osaka Continental in Tokyo, where his loyal friend Shimazu Koji fights the hordes of assassins led by Kane before being killed by the blind assassin in combat. This diversion allows John to escape along with Koji's daughter, who swears revenge for her father's murder. Finally, John manages to challenge Vincent de Gramont to a duel after becoming a member of the Ruska Rome crime family. And according to the rules of this duel, a win would free him of the bondage of the High Table and pardon his crimes against the organization. Vincent nominates Kane to fight in his stead, and the stage is all set up for an epic final duel where John is fatally injured and shown to succumb to his wounds. His old friends, Vincent and the Bowery King, are still around to help him throughout the events of the movie, and they even attend his funeral. In the closing scene, where he is shown buried beside his wife with the words "beloved husband" written on his tombstone just like he wanted. There is also an interesting post-credit scene where Akira is about to take revenge on Kane while he walks on the streets of Paris to be reunited with his daughter. Is John Wick really dead? Will he return in Chapter 5? This is a million-dollar question if you're looking to find answers to what is going to happen in John Wick Chapter 5. The climatic duel with Kane does show him getting shot, and he is severely wounded and bleeding profusely from his wounds. However, the entire duel could be a pre-planned setup by both Kane and John. That would explain how John is lenient and never shoots Kane fatally during the 3 rounds in spite of being a crack shot. From the beginning of the movie, the reluctance of Kane shows, and he even lets go of a couple of opportunities where someone else is about to kill John. He also helps John fight off the assassins that tried to stop him from reaching the dueling venue because, according to the contract, inability to reach the venue on time would result in an execution. Why would he take all this trouble if the whole thing wasn't orchestrated already? Think about it. This means the perfect outcome for both of them. Kane holds his end of the bargain and fulfills the deal with the High Table. He can safely go back to his daughter, and the threat posed by Vincent de Gramont is now non-existent after John blows his brains out. It also guarantees that he walks away with minor injuries because John doesn't shoot him fatally and holds back during the 3rd round to conserve his last bullet for Vincent. As for John, this entire charade is the perfect escape opportunity. He can finally go off the grid and enjoy a life of peace and quiet, remembering his late wife like he always wanted to. Kane is seasoned and experienced enough to know where to shoot to make it look fatal without causing any life-threatening damage. Winston did the same in John Wick Chapter 3, and there is no reason for John to plan out this elaborate scheme to fake his death. Now, one might wonder why John Wick would feel the need to fake a death when he is already free from his dealings with the High Table. Well, for starters, the High Table Table has proven time and again that although it abides by a strict code of conduct and an ethical and fair approach to crime, there have been a few powerful members who know how to twist the rules. John Wick is the man who killed 2 High Table members, counting Vincent and the Elder, who is supposed to be the leader of everything that the organization represents. Surely they wouldn't let him walk away freely after one botched-up duel. A fake death would be the perfect way to give them the slip and lead a life away from all the violence and complications. There is a slight hint that suggests that John Wick could still be alive. In the last scene, you can see Winston and the Bowery King standing by his grave along with his pit bull to pay their respect. The Bowery King asks Winston if he thinks John is in heaven or hell, to which he replies, "Who knows?" The Bowery King walks away with a mysterious chuckle, and Winston mutters, "Farewell, my son," before leaving the scene. The farewell could also indicate that John is now going to lead a very different life, and their paths are unlikely to cross again. The dog turns away as if looking at something at a distance, and the credits start to roll. Did the intelligent pit bull catch a glimpse of his beloved owner standing at a distance? John Wick being alive is certainly a possibility because fake deaths of protagonists are quite prevalent in action movies. Besides, why would a studio risk the backlash associated with a John Wick sequel that doesn't star the man himself? What if John Wick 5 focuses on Kane? While the death of John Wick might be debatable, you can be assured that Kane is here to stay. This key role, played by Donnie Yen, has become an instant fan favorite because of the Ip Man star's charisma and martial arts skill. He has shown throughout the narrative that he is every bit as good as John Wick, even without his eyesight, and the post-credit scene clearly indicates that he is going to be in the thick of things. It has been established that Kane dearly loves his daughter and could do just about anything to protect her. He was drafted into the assassin services against his will, and after completing the deal, he heads back to meet his daughter. However, some of his actions are there to haunt his present. Kane's duel with Koji was an iconic one, where he unwillingly killed Koji after the latter refused to surrender. Koji's daughter, Akira, is shown in the post-credit scene with her knives drawn, ready to strike Kane down. Clearly, he has some tough moments ahead because, from the looks of it so far, Akira is an extremely skilled fighter as well. The High Table might discover his secret deal with John Wick in case they had one in the first place before the duel. This discovery would mean that Kane duped the esteemed organization, and we all know the penalty for such crimes: death. This would mean that Kane would now be walking around with a crazy bounty amount on his head, and assassins from every part of the world would try to kill him. It would be a dream story arc if John Wick is actually not dead and decides to make a comeback from his secret life in order to save his old friend. We have all seen how loyal John is as a friend, and he would surely not sit back and watch Kane being slaughtered. Kane and John fighting together is a sight to behold, as we discovered briefly in John Wick Chapter 4, and it would be absolutely mouth-watering to watch them in action all over again. There cannot be a better duo to take down the High Table, but Kane must deal with Akira first.
Will ever have freedom and peace.
Will Mr. Nobody have a key role? Mr. Nobody is easily one of the coolest characters in the recent release, and it is not so easy to understand what is going on in his mind. This mysterious assassin clearly has the skills and the perfect dog for the job, but he refuses to kill John Wick even after he has the opportunity. At first, he is not convinced about the bounty amount, and later he refuses the temptation of millions of dollars and spares his life after John saves his dog from certain death. Such a magnetic and enigmatic character is usually not introduced in a successful franchise as a one-trick pony, and you can expect him to have a key role going ahead. We know nothing about his origins and allegiances so far, and we hope to find more answers in his upcoming role. There is an interesting fan theory that has been doing around. Some people believe that his dog shares some crucial similarities with Sophia's dog that you saw in John Wick 3. The glimpse of the picture of his daughter could be the same daughter that Sophia, played by Halle Berry, was talking about, and that makes Mr. Nobody the father. If that is indeed the case, his story arc leaves an opportunity for the grand comeback of the gritty and alluring Sophia as well. And wouldn't it be nice to have both fighting on the same team as John? Once again, if the ultimate goal is to take down the dictatorial High Table, the alliance needs to be strong enough, and it seems like slowly we might be getting there. How does John Wick 5 work out with Akira as the protagonist? Akira might have a brief screen presence compared to some of the other key characters, but she plays an impactful role in John Wick Chapter 4. When Osaka Continental is attacked by the trained mercenaries of the High Table along with Kane, she takes down men by the dozens before being shot and injured. She is swift with a sword, skilled in martial arts, and moves like a ninja, and the intensity of her character is truly reflected in a post-credit scene. She has actually tracked down her father's killer, and now she clearly has revenge on her mind. Firstly, do not rule out a twist because the makers can surprise you with a continuation of the scene being something like Akira using the knife to kill someone who is about to ambush Kane. Such deception is common in the genre, and a different camera angle can change things completely. Maybe she has forgiven Kane after learning about his compulsion and helplessness in killing Koji. Of course, it can be the other way around, and the next movie might be all about Akira trying to get her revenge and Kane fighting back. He wouldn't want to kill the daughter of his old friend, but he wouldn't want to die either. We liked what we saw of her so far, and this passionate character will certainly be an interesting part of the next movie. There might be a possibility that Akira will be seen as one of the main characters with an entire story arc revolving around her. Also, wouldn't she want revenge on the High Table as well, because technically the organization is the one responsible for her father's death?
Who is this?
The Marquis de Gramont. Challenge him to single combat.
Where does Winston's character go from here? Winston has not only been the most loyal friend of John Wick throughout the franchise, but he has also proven that he is willing to put his life on the line for the hitman. He becomes John Wick's second during the duel, even though he knows that John's loss would mean death for him as well. However, he is quick to lay down in no uncertain terms that John's win will have him reinstated as the manager of the Continental Hotel, and the destroyed facility will be rebuilt. Now that John Wick has gone, Winston is back to being the key player in the High Table machinery. We have seen the seeds of dissent and opposition to the High Table so far, and what better way to continue the fight than being on the same side? Being the manager of the Continental Hotel comes with a great deal of facilities and resources, and don't be surprised if you see Winston making use of them to shatter the organization from within. He has lost his concierge, his friend and right-hand man, Charon, because of the harsh punishment of the High Table, and he doesn't seem like a man who forgets and forgives so easily. On the other hand, he can also be used by nefarious elements to draw out John Wick. Everyone is aware of the bonhomie between the two, and if they suspect that John is still alive, endangering the life of his dear friend is a sure-shot way to bring him back into the fold. We can't wait to see what happens to this captivating character played by veteran actor Ian McShane.
Man has to look his best when it's time to get married. Or buried.
Will the Bowery King bow down before the High Table? The Bowery King, played by Lawrence Fishburne, has been a constant presence in the franchise, and this badass self-proclaimed king had his ego hurt by the actions of the High Table. The organization tried to strip him of his status, and the adjudicator employed by the High Table made her assassin inflict 7 deep cuts on him as punishment for helping John Wick. The Bowery King is a proud man, and his irritation with his shady organization has been evident from the beginning. He's intrigued by John Wick because the assassin dares to take the fight to such a powerful opponent, and he allows his resources to be allocated for the cause. He continues to do the same in John Wick Chapter 4, starting from helping John take care of the elder to getting him a special suit before the big duel. Surely his purpose continues to be watching the downfall of the High Table because he is too fed up with a rigid hierarchy and the organization's disdain towards him. Now that he has allied with Winston, he has a wise friend to advise him, and if John Wick is indeed alive and ready to make a comeback in the next movie, expect the deadly trio to be back in action all over again. We would also love to see the Bowery King exact his revenge on the Adjudicator, which is another character that can make a comeback and do the bidding for the High Table. Will there be a John Wick Chapter 5 at all? We've discussed so much about the possibility story arcs for the next movie, but now is the time to quickly check out the real possibilities of a sequel. Well, back in 2020, it seemed like a fairly simple question because the CEO of Lionsgate, John Feldheimer, suggested that John Wick Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 would be filmed back-to-back. However, by March 2021, the plans for a 5th movie in the franchise were put on hold. John Wick Chapter 4 attracted a lot of interest, and the makers focused on perfecting the 4th installment before planning ahead. Tad Stahelski, the director of all the 4 John Wick movies so far, revealed in an interview in March 2023 that he would like to give John Wick a rest, hinting that they would only consider the way forward after assessing the response from the fans. Keanu Reeves, who plays the legendary titular character, echoed the sentiments and said that they would have to wait for the studio's decision and audience reactions before jumping the gun. That being said, the fourth movie has a mysterious ending, and the open-ended nature seems to be purposely orchestrated to leave the possibility of John Wick Chapter 5 open. The movie has done some seriously good business so far, and it has been appreciated by the fans and critics alike. There is no real reason for Lionsgate to turn their back on such a massive hit, and you can expect some announcement regarding this sequel pretty soon. We believe that John Wick Chapter 5 is very much on the cards, although it is probably going to be at least 2 years before we can enjoy the next installment. In the meantime, there is supposed to be a spin-off movie on the ballerina assassin Rooney, who appeared in John Wick Chapter 3. Ana de Armas will be playing the role, and the film is said to be in post-production at the moment. The news of its series focused around the origins of Winston, the manager of the Continental Hotel, and John Wick's trusted friend is also doing the rounds. It is safe to say that the franchise is far from over, and our favorite hitman is going to make a comeback soon. Do let us know in the comments below what your thoughts on where the story will be headed next in John Wick Chapter 5. Feel free to tell us which of our theories appeal to you the most and which one you consider to be a bit too outrageous.